Blue Wire.
Kirk Cousins, he's going to be a Minnesota Viking. This was the right call.
Cousins pressure, hit as he throws, going for Thielen. He's got it! Touchdown! Oh my Diggs! Stay up! Oh my God! Oh my God! 30! No way! Touchdown! It's a Minneapolis miracle!
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome into Bleeding Purple, a podcast about the Minnesota Vikings. We are part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, on Twitter at Bleeding Podcast. We are brought to you this week by Untuck It. My name is Tyler Haig. I'm joined as always by Mr. Adam Patrick. What up, buddy?
What's up? It's playoff time.
Yeah, playoff time. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I guess,
yeah.
Hopefully it'll be happy for the Vikings.
I hope so. Little side note on the 2020 thing. 2020, thought for sure hoverboards, but still no. Still no hoverboards.
Nope. No floating cars.
Yeah, I mean, floating cars I get because there's like an industry of very rich
No
dudes,
what's that?
but like hoverboards.
You put the little tiny pizza in the microwave, and then it blows up into a big pizza.
Yes.
None of that.
I almost forgot about that one. Oh, what else was on that?
No
Cubs
laceless,
won the World Series already, so check.
no laceless shoes or self-lace. Actually, there might be self-lace.
Yeah, there
shoes.
kind of are. I feel like one of those on the anniversary, they made one just to make sure there was one.
Yeah.
For the anniversary. Okay, back to the Vikings.
The
Yay,
future.
2020. The future. Let's talk about the past. They played a football game on Sunday. Barely. Kind of, I guess.
They were on the field.
Not a lot of starters. There were guys wearing Viking helmet, logo, purple uniforms. It looked similar. Chicago had that Trubisky kid out there. Khalil Mack, I saw him too. So there were parts of it that seemed like a real football game.
Yep.
Other parts, not so much. What stands out to you from that game? I guess obviously they lost, but it doesn't really matter. Didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. What was your favorite moment? Let me tell you mine. It was Alex Boone running on the first play.
Mike
and then
Boone?
What did I say? Alex Boone.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
Sad. Mike Boone. Very different dudes. Very different
Like, wow,
shaped
when
and
was he on
colored
the field?
humans. Yes. That's tough to mix those two up, but here we are. Mike Boone, excuse me. A wonderful run. First play from scrimmage.
Yeah.
Second play from scrimmage, immediately puts it on the ground. I knew right then, at that very moment, and I tweeted this, I should have specified where we were in the game when I tweeted that, because a lot of people were like, oh, bad timing, dude. It's like, no, I saw the fumble, too. That's why it's the best game ever. This is going to be the most fun game in the history of Vikings football.
You know what? For a game that didn't really matter, it was pretty fun.
If you look at it, like a preseason game, like what would have been like the most entertaining preseason game you possibly could have witnessed? It was probably that. That was like the best version that we could have seen, I thought. Competitive.
Fetty Odenabo got robbed.
Oh, what a bummer. And also,
should have
that
just given
guy.
it to him. Oh yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah, he's been incredible this year.
He's
So fun.
he might push Everson Griffin out the door next year.
True story.
So keep an eye on that.
I was gonna say, more
I
to
think
come
the
on that.
biggest takeaway I took from that is thank God Kirk Cousins didn't get hurt this year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because if Sean Mannion had to play
I was not impressed with
any significant time, the Vikings would not be in the playoffs right now.
Mm-mm.
And I know you're like, you don't want your backups to play, and then people are like, oh, if your backup's in the game, you're probably not going to do well anyways. But there are some backups out there where if you put them in, you can still manage. And Sean Mannion's not one of those.
He's not. I completely agree with that.
He should not be back.
Honestly, that was what I wound up thinking was they don't have as much depth on offensive line as I maybe thought at one point, because these are all basically the same guys that we've been shuffling in and out of the starting group either way. And then, Mannion and
Yeah.
Oodalali. Yeah.
I would That would have been bad if he had to play this year.
Can't blame the Vikings for doing the Mannion thing over Slaughter still, because I think they were right. I think people would have been calling for his head and calling for Slaughter for sure. I might have been one of them.
I don't know about that. I don't really believe that. Like, people just wanted Slaughter on the team because he was better than Mannion. I don't know how many people were gonna like midseason be like, put Slaughter in. I mean, people would actually like. A brain probably wouldn't.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You're giving Viking fans a lot of credit.
Yeah. That's true. Because, after the Chicago game, people were like, put Slaughter in. They're like, he's not on the team.
Exactly.
But put him in.
Cut him. I remember they keep playing the clip on the radio. Cut him. He sucks. It's like, that was Kirk Cousins he was talking about at that time. Kirk Cousins. People are crazy. I think that's, What can you take away? Fede Odenigbo, really good. Really glad Kirk Cousins didn't get hurt at all this season. Honestly, I thought we would see more from Mike, not Alex Boone.
Dan Bailey had another nice.
Dan Bailey did have a nice game.
He hasn't missed a kick in US Bank Stadium all year, and he won't because they're not going to play there again.
It bums me out because I'm going to forget who had this tweet. It was, do you need any more proof that this game is meaningless? Is the Chicago Bears and the Vikings kicker in week 17 have not, they're like 6 for 6. It's like, yes, this game definitely doesn't matter.
The Bears kicker, he kicked the game winner.
Yes. So
they're like, yes, we solved our kicking problem.
Yeah, exactly.
No playoff.
God.
Trubisky looked great against the Vikings second team. Couldn't punch it in the red zone.
And then today it comes out that they're like, he's our guy. We're going with him into 2020, Trubisky. It's like,
thanks.
Wow.
Thanks.
You guys.
Making it real easy for the Vikings next year.
Wow.
Although, Mike Zimmer now is 0-4 against Matt Nagy because of Sunday. So people are definitely going to bring that up next year.
It's true.
Like, he's never beaten Matt Nagy and the Bears. We're not going to talk about week 17, but it counts.
Mm-hmm. It still counts as one of the ones that we're counting. So... Don't ask me about
no one will ever take it out of context.
Yeah, teams with winning records before or after the season, during the season, doesn't matter.
Yep.
Losing record, it counts. Moving on from that very strange Chicago game to end the season.
Vikings lost, by the way.
Vikings lost, by the way.
In case anyone's listening.
If we hadn't picked that up, yeah. Not that it really would matter. You could have gone through your entire life without knowing the outcome of that game, and it wouldn't have really changed anything for anybody, frankly.
Yeah.
But
great Hail Mary, too.
God. I can't spend too much time talking about how ugly that game was because there were parts where I was like, I can barely.
I mean, they're backups for a reason.
I mean, yeah, they are. It's true, but
they're still in the NFL. So.
Yes, and that execution, and there's a lot left to be desired there. Sure. Okay, moving on to the future. Future next season: Stefanski, Browns. Kevin Stefanski. If you'll remember,
That's Steve.
Last season, that's Steve Stefanski. Well, actually, what is Kevin Stefanski's dad is the Detroit Pistons GM.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah.
So I probably should specify Stefanski's there.
He might.
Actually, in real life.
The Pistons GM might be the Browns coach next year.
It's true. He's going to be interviewed for it anyways.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait. It's his son. Again, he was interviewed last year, and they said, if you remember, the reports last season were he basically almost got that job. Yeah, and they wound up giving it to... But if they could redo that, they would, and ta-da, here we are this season. I think they're going to want to redo it. Do you think there's any, real chance that Kevin Stefanski goes to the Cleveland Browns? Or do you think that he will... God, I don't know a way to say this without making it sound mean to the Browns, but do you think he's going to be smarter than going into that dumpster fire as his first head coaching experience?
No, because I don't think when you're an assistant, you don't really either look at it that way.
You don't care,
a lot
right?
A lot of guys are like, it's a head coaching job. I want it, especially if he can. Yeah, he can go, and they're always like, oh, I can be the guy that will, turn this all around. So unless you've been a head coach before, which is like, Mike McCarthy or like Rex Ryan or something like that, then you can be like, nah, I don't want to do that. I'd rather be an assistant. But for somebody who's never been a head coach before, you want to take whatever opportunity comes by. and he's got a good shot. I think they liked him a lot last year. I think they like Josh McDaniels this year. I think it just depends on they're getting rid of their GM too, so I think it just depends on how much control whoever their head coach wants coming in. If they want to give that person the GM duties, or bring in a different GM, or figure something else out that probably won't work in a year, and they'll fire everyone and start all over again, because that's what the Browns do.
I was just gonna say that, and Lord willing, they make it through 2 full seasons, because God Almighty, we've seen.
I think I saw someone say they've had 12 coaches since 1999.
That's obscene. Like, that's so stupid. I also read.
I think
today,
the Steelers have had 2.
Yeah. In 3 since like 19.
Vikings have only had 4.
50, whatever. Vikings have been pretty consistent.
Yeah, 5. They've had 5.
I think
1999.
head coaches are one of the few things, like, I can understand a reaction after 1 season on even a starting quarterback. I can understand it on, all kinds of different positions. Head coach, boy, oh boy, you got to give them at least 2 seasons, don't you? To just try and implement what they're doing. Ever see an untucked button down? They look bad. Why? Because they weren't meant to be worn that way. Thankfully, there's Untuck It, the original button down shirt actually designed to be worn untucked. No matter your size or shape, Untuck It always falls at the perfect length. More than 50 different fit combinations. Untuck It shirt looks great on tall, short, slim, athletic guys, all ages. You can find your favorite Untuck It style online, or check out one of their 80 brick and mortar stores. You can choose from the styles like wrinkle-free button downs, super soft flannels, outerwear, and more. So whether you're shopping for the perfect holiday gift or just trying to craft a smart, relaxed style of your own, Untuck It is the way to go. Visit untuckit.com and use code BLUE for 20% off at checkout. That's untuckit.com, UNTUCKIT.com, and promo code BLUE for 20% off.
I think so, unless
I'm not
it's
saying
someone like Freddie Kitchens.
That's what I was just gonna say. I'm not saying they should hang on to Freddie Kitchens. I think that was doomed from the start.
Yeah.
But
you can tell. But if it's someone who, there might be a little promise. Maybe you look it back. I remember it was like Mike Pettin was the coach of the Browns, and I thought he did a decent job, and he might have been there for 2 years. Mm-hmm. But for some reason they decided to give Hugh Jackson more time after they won 0 games.
Yeah. Guy wins, 2 games in 2 seasons.
They won 0 games.
Yeah, that's right. They did. Oh God, that was so terrible.
But yeah, it's sort of what I've been not really going back and forth, but trying to tell people who think if the Vikings lose in the first round on Sunday, that Mike Zimmer, they're going to fire Mike Zimmer. I'm just like, I don't think so. They're not. They don't know. They're not. They're in the playoffs. It's the 3rd time they've been in the playoffs in 6 years. Mike Zimmer's had 1 losing record in 6 years. They're like, well, look at Ron Rivera. He would have been good. Ron Rivera had like 6 losing seasons in 9 years.
There is no reason at all whatsoever to fire Mike Zimmer. I think it would be the worst.
Unless he wants to leave.
Yeah, unless he wants to leave. And see, this rumor, this is the one I want to talk about. Yes, the trade to the Cowboys, because
that's just a silly.
Is it though?
What are they gonna? But what would you be fine with if they gave you like 2 first-round picks?
This is my question. What is a head coach worth in draft picks or money or whatever? Because the last time this happened, it was John Gruden and Al Davis. So like the rules are off, right? Was there one in between them?
I know Belichick got traded from the Jets.
That was a trade from the Jets?
I think so, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
The Patriots.
That whole thing is so stupid. But yeah, anyway, so that John Gruden, that was an obscene haul that they got. Al Davis was crazy, so you can't even whatever he paid for it doesn't even like count for the market, because he creates his own market did when he was running that team, because he was bonkers.
Just win, baby.
Jets, and boy, oh boy. But I mean, it worked out okay for both teams, because Tampa Bay wound up winning a Super Bowl
Did it though? Because when's the last time the Raiders were in the playoffs? They've been in the playoffs once since then. So if they kept John Gruden,
fair point. Okay, if they kept John,
I mean he's there.
He's there. Got you. I was like, well, I don't know about the draft picks, so but would you? Yeah, from the Raiders' perspective, great point. So I guess here's the question I wanted to ask you: what is Mike Zimmer worth for? What would you take if the Cowboys were asking you, hey man, we have blank available, we want Zimmer?
I think they'd have to trade their entire offensive line to the Vikings.
It's a good place to start. It's a good place.
I don't know if he's worth enough to let go. Like, because you had to weigh like how the locker room would react.
I think that's the most important.
What he's built already with his defensive system, even on offense, and just there's a lot I think bad to come away from doing something like that, especially when you've had a season where you've gone to the playoffs, especially where it seems like you've made progress from last year.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way.
Especially the way he's still been able to put this team in position to have success after everything that's gone on during his tenure. I don't think people realize how much he's had to deal with.
We've talked about it
during his tenure.
We've talked about it so often.
Peterson getting suspended for the whole year. Teddy's leg almost falling off. Bradford's knees almost falling off. His eye almost falling out. Blair Walsh missing in the playoffs. Everson Griffin having a missed time last year.
Yes, that was it.
There's a lot that's gone on, and he's still been able to keep this team on the right path.
Offensive line coach died before the season started. That was the one I was thinking.
How many coaches would be capable? Would even be around after all that?
Exactly. See, that's the way I always look at it. Is okay. So you're going to get rid of Mike Zimmer. Sounds great. No matter what you get, but you're telling me that you're going to trade Mike Zimmer to the Cowboys, and that defense is going to get better than it has been, and the quarterback's going to play better than he has been, and the offense is just going to be better in general. That's what's going to happen from you getting rid of Mike Zimmer. Who's going to do that for you? Who's going to be the coach that's going to do that?
Yeah, my thing is, if they lose, okay, then fine. He can be on the hot seat. I'll support that. But I'd like to see how he would react to a year where his defense was an elite, and what he'll do in the offseason to fix that, and see how everything comes out next year. If they'll have to get a new offensive coordinator, hopefully Pat Shurmur.
True.
See how that goes. Just for giving him an opportunity to he's built this defense already, and it seems to be like some of the players are in decline. So giving him an opportunity to rebuild it and see what he can do. And if he doesn't, then go your separate ways. But don't just be like, oh, your defense wasn't that great this 1 year, so you need to leave. No.
And then it's also like, oh, you haven't won enough in the playoffs, but your kicker missed a kick. You had, just all these crazy things that have happened to them. You run into the buzzsaw that is the Philadelphia Eagles. All these things are. I mean, you could qualify them as excuses for not winning or whatever, but there are. If they were just losing competitive games consistently in the playoffs, I'd be like, okay, maybe we need to figure this out. But they're always winning 8 to 10 games. They're always in the playoffs or flirting with the playoffs. And then those playoff losses, you can point to one thing that happens where it's like, oh, if that doesn't happen, maybe they win that game. If that doesn't happen, maybe they win that game. And that's all you can ask for.
People bring up they haven't had an impressive win this year, which I'll go back to when they beat the Cowboys. I'm pretty sure a lot of people who are, saying they should fire Zimmer or whatever, were pretty happy after they beat the Cowboys that night. But they don't want to talk about it right now because the Cowboys didn't make the playoffs, and they're like, well, they weren't a good team. You know what? They were back then.
Well, it's funny how would you say the Cowboys are better than the Falcons? But the Falcons beating New Orleans and the Falcons beating these other quote unquote great team, that's no big deal. And it's Atlanta, so I mean they're playing better anyways. But I would say that Dallas is way better than Atlanta. You know, I mean, and so wouldn't that be a worse slight on New Orleans than it would be on the Vikings?
Oh yeah. Well, and you look at all these coaches that have been able to stick around and got their teams back on track. You look at John Harbaugh. I think the Ravens went like 5-11 a couple of years ago, and now look at them now. Sean Payton, the Saints, they went 7-9 a bunch of years. They rebuilt everything, and they're on track again to
Don't you
kind of
need to do that for Zimmer too? You hit the reset button the day that Teddy Bridgewater's knee falls off because the plan was going, the plan was moving, and then everything had to change on this one day. And so
they got to figure out. Yeah, they got
the defense that you had
find a
built.
Quarterback.
Yes, the defense that you had built on the timetable you had built it was not going to line up with the timetable that you were building, whatever offense you were planning on building at that point.
I would. Speaking of quarterback, I would definitely get rid of Kirk Cousins before I would get rid of Mike Zimmer.
Yeah,
I would not keep Kirk Cousins around longer than Mike Zimmer.
Okay, let's look at it that way. So, say hypothetically speaking, the Vikings lose badly in New Orleans. Who needs to go then? Like, say somebody has to go. Who do you choose then? To me, that is Kirk Cousins over the other two. Does that make sense?
Where do you send him?
Well, that I don't know, but I'm just. But that's like if you think that after that game, firing Mike Zimmer is going to be the best choice, you should try it without Kirk Cousins.
No,
you think that Rick Spielman losing his job is the best option? Try it without Kirk Cousins.
No,
see, I could justify Spielman going, but
you also have to look at it's not like they would be blown out by the Eagles, who are just scraping to get in the playoffs. They're going to go up against the Saints in New Orleans, who have 13 wins this year.
Yeah.
I think
pretty good quarterback. He's got about every record that's ever existed.
Yeah. And the Vikings have played the Saints very close, during the past few years. So I don't think this is going to be a blowout, as a lot of people are, thinking it will be, that the Vikings have no chance and things like that. There's a lot of things that the Vikings do well that the Saints haven't done well at preventing this year. So I think Sunday's game will be a lot closer than people, and it's not at night, so we don't have to worry about all the primetime stuff for Kirk Cousins. He gets to play it at noon, his favorite time of year. So
this is a great. If we were doing a science experiment, this would be the one game, because it's not a primetime game, but it's a playoff game, so everybody's still watching. So the pressure should be the same, but it's at noon. Kirk doesn't have a problem with noon games. These are the things we're looking for.
Get a little more routine. He likes the noon routine. He has a special breakfast or something.
Totally. He's got the right sleep pattern. He gets up. If it's too long, then he misses his nap. I don't know. But I'm assuming it's something like that.
I think people are can't just brush aside that Dalvin Cook is going to be back on Sunday.
Dalvin Cook is going to be back. Adam Thielen is going to be 2 weeks worth of rested and ready to go. He didn't look great, but he will look better.
I don't even worry about him anymore. I really don't. I don't think he's even close to being a factor. He could be, I guess, but
I hope so. But it helps if he is. And here's the other thing that people seem to not be focusing on is every one of these teams that's in the playoffs for the NFC. Seattle, they played them tough and almost beat them at Seattle. New Orleans, I don't think anybody is afraid in that sense of us going to New Orleans.
People think the Saints are the best team in the NFC, and
you could make that argument, but you could also make the argument that the Vikings are the best team in the NFC. You can make the argument that that it seems so even to me this year. Well, just look at it was literally 1 inch at the end of that game decided a number 2 seed from being a number 5 seed, a home playoff game versus a bye. Yeah, and that is how tightly contested this NFC is. So that the idea that the Vikings are just going to get put in their place with the rest of the amateurs in the NFC, I just think that is totally out of left field. I think that's way wrong. I think they're right there. I think they could be anybody in this tournament, the Vikings.
Oh yeah. I think they can win on Sunday. I think the 49ers they'd have to play the Niners next, and I think that would be pretty tough. Mm-hmm. Especially the Niners getting a week off. But you never know, because you never know. You got the Flaccos going on the playoff run, Eli Manning, Packers, they were the 6th seed and they won a Super Bowl a couple
Things
years
like
ago.
this happen. It's not crazy to imagine after what we've seen from Kirk Cousins and what we've seen from the offense when everybody's healthy. It's not inconceivable for the Vikings offense to put together a run like that can get them. Maybe
they kind of did. They were like after that Bears game, they went like 8-2.
Yeah,
in the next 10 games. So
that's what I'm saying, and that's what you were going to need. Like, you're not going to be like a juggernaut going into the playoffs with the way the team is constructed right now.
No.
You could have a very good defense. You're going to win games by a touchdown.
And I kind of think it's good that they are the 6th seed, so they know every week they would have to go on the road. They don't have to worry about if they're going to be home or away or not. They know they're going to be on the road every week, so they know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
And they can prepare probably the same way each week, and just go out, just play their football. Don't make Kirk Cousins the decider on offense.
Don't make him do something he's not good at.
Quick passes, screen passes, get the ball in Dalvin Cook's hands. Give Madison the ball to pound down their throats. Keep the ball out of the Saints' offense's hands, because I don't have a lot of confidence in the Vikings stopping the Saints' offense.
I sure don't, especially not the one wide
Not
receiver.
the passing game. Yeah. Maybe they can stop Alvin Kamara from rushing for 100 yards.
Maybe.
Or Latavius Murray.
I was going to say, Kamara will probably rush for a small amount, but then catch like 140 yards worth of passes throughout the game. They're definitely, the offense for New Orleans is scary. But like you said, I think it's a totally winnable game. Like, I don't think that, I just don't think it's crazy to.
And the Vikings their defense has been forcing a lot of turnovers lately. So if they get those, turn those into touchdowns.
But you look at their wide receiving group as like basically kind of a one-man show. I mean, obviously they spread the ball around to their running backs and stuff like that.
Who's their second receiver?
No idea. Have no idea.
Is that Gim?
You might. I don't know. It might be, honestly. I can't even. I have no idea who it is. I have no idea. But either way, I mean, this guy caught more passes than anybody has ever caught in a season. So it's like he's
no one else to throw.
Totally. So like that. Okay, that we could take away. Yeah, I mean, I feel like obviously it's going to be a tough place to go in, a tough place to win. But I feel like this team has been playing these types of games all season, basically. Like
they've been
forth, like games on
the Vikings. I don't think they've lost. I think the game about the Packers was like their biggest loss since the Bears.
It was the closest thing to being over,
and they were winning at a half.
Yes, exactly, and they were
playing terribly, and they were still winning. Let's see, who is the second leading receiver on the Saints? Alvin Kamara.
Of course he is.
Ted Ginn is the next highest receiver with 30 catches.
Wow, 30. And what?
Latavius Murray had more catches than Ted Ginn. Wow. Oh yeah, they have Taysom Hill, the quarterback who has like 10 career passes. Gotta worry about him.
Oh, that's so good. Your wide receivers are so good that you have a quarterback / wide receiver / running back playing wide receiver. Oh, I really don't. I don't like the
triple
Saints.
Team. So just triple team Michael Thomas, and you're good.
And you're good. You'll be fine. It's no problem. What? Let's do, I guess, some predictions. I had the schedule, and now I don't have it anymore, our outline of things. So let's start with, what do you expect to see from the Vikings? I mean, we kind of touched on it a little bit with some of the schematic things that we would like to see, but would you like to elaborate at all on it?
Just get back to what worked, in games like against the Cowboys and then a bunch of other games during the season where you give Dalvin Cook the ball a lot, even if it's not working at first. Try and get him the ball, and you know what? Actually, start work in Diggs and Thielen early. Get those guys involved. Get Rudolph some 5-yard passes up the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Just get Cousins in a groove. Don't have him dropping back and just looking like a deer in the headlights. Have him already know pretty much who he's going to throw to before he even snaps the ball. Kevin Stefanski needs to call a good game.
Mm-hmm. He does. Yeah, you totally nailed it. All of those things go into kind of the same like pot, I guess, is either throw early quick passes to set up the run for Dalvin Cook, or you use Dalvin Cook to set up the quick passes early. But either way, what you're talking about is getting Kirk Cousins easy passes early on so he can get into a rhythm.
Yeah, because it seems like if he struggles early,
ways,
and he's not going to be able to fix that.
No, he can't. We've seen it. We know he can't.
It's either he starts well, he continues to play well, or he doesn't start well, and he doesn't play well. There's no like rebounding or anything like that.
100%. And I feel like as a play caller, you can kind of help dictate that. You can kind of help him along, and I feel like Stefanski needs to do that. And especially not in third and long situations, don't put a running back there. Don't do the 5 wide, just leaving Kirk out there all by his lonesome. Don't do that.
I was watching the Niners and Saints game a couple days ago when the Niners beat them in New Orleans. And they run, they have Kyle Shanahan, so they run a similar offense to the Vikings, and they utilize a lot of play action and, just quick slants over the middle, just, quick passes. They took shots downfield, but it was after like Garoppolo would roll out and stuff to get him outside the pocket to give him time. Yes. It wasn't just drop back and wait and let the pass rushers, come after you. It was, helping the quarterback, be able to make his throws, and that's what the Vikings need to do on Sunday. Here's a question. If the Vikings have they're going to call the coin toss or whatever, but if they win the coin toss, would you rather have them have the ball first on offense or defense first?
Always take the ball in the second half.
Really?
Always, no matter what.
I think I would like them to be on offense first. Get a touchdown on the first drive.
I would love for that to happen.
Quick start. Shut the crowd up. And just
it would be so important to score first on the first drive. Would help them win that game so much. So. Because
I think if the Saints get the ball and they score first, then
here's
what tough.
Here's what I worry about is Vikings get the ball first, 3 and out, punt to the Saints, 2 plays, touchdown. Kirk Cousins is all of a sudden back on the field.
That would never happen.
I'm just saying.
Why do you think Xavier Rhodes going to get burned or something?
He won't be playing, so it won't matter. He's only going to get like 17% of the snaps, and that was the secret.
Yeah, they're all going to be in the first quarter, and then they're going to be like,
"Get him
okay, you're sitting,
and you're done."
Hey, did you notice that George Edwards was calling the plays on in last week?
I did notice that actually. Yes, I saw that you or somebody. It was you that tweeted that.
It was me.
Yeah, and we were discussing that. Good for him to finally. And of course, I laughed because. Thanks, Zimmer, for giving me this dope opportunity to call the plays when it doesn't matter at all, and you have really the outcome of the game doesn't matter. Thanks.
I like the way they played though. They blitzed a lot, but I mean, doing that against Trubisky probably makes defenses look a little better than they.
That's what I was gonna say.
Usually are.
Yeah, I was very excited about the amount of pressure they were getting on Trubisky, but I'm not sure the same thing works.
But apparently, I think Mike Zimmer wanted to give up his play calling duties, but the ownership convinced him not to.
Really?
Yeah, I saw that somewhere today. I don't remember.
The plot thickens. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's something he's considered, and I honestly, I wouldn't have a problem if he gave it up because I think he's a head coach. He's got a. I know he's not an offensive coach, but neither is Belichick.
Yeah.
And when Belichick needs to focus on the defense, he does. But when he needs to focus on the offense, he does. When he needs to focus on the special teams, he does.
Yeah. Here's the other thing about being a head coach.
Zimmer's just so keyed in on the defense and not worrying about anything else. And he's like, oh yeah, go for
it. Do you think that maybe that would wind up being hindering the offensive production because all of a sudden Zimmer's actually watching how
why aren't you running the ball every
day? And he would just be in the ear of whoever the offensive coordinator is.
If he has someone like Kubiak in there who he has trust in to run the offense, but especially if someone like Shermer comes back, he trusts the hell out of him, so he wouldn't have a problem.
I think would be fine. Yep, I agree with that.
He would let him do his thing because he's already shown he can do that. So yeah.
Do you want to do a prediction? Do you want to where are you at?
Yeah.
This feels like
I
it's
was right
happening
last week,
too fast.
Vikings lost.
Yeah.
I picked them to win.
Congrats. Awesome, Adam.
Hey,
awesome.
I think that makes my my record one better than yours this year.
I think you
we both We both picked the Vikings.
Which is interesting because we were both perfect all season, and then I just lost on this last one. So good season by us, not missing any picks all year. But it's tough. Tough way to lose it for me. Well done, Adam. Good job. You win the pick'em contest.
Yes.
The score prediction contest this season.
On the playoff.
Please do not fact check any of the information I just gave you. Predictions for this week. I really want the Vikings to win.
Yeah, obviously.
I feel like it's going to be a high scoring. This is what I wanted to say was when the Saints and the Vikings play in the playoffs, something bananas
Crazy
always
stuff
happens.
happens.
Yeah, something goofy always goes down. So I'm assuming.
Wait, what happened? What happened in 2009? I forgot.
I'm assuming that it was actually he threw it across his body, so it was just bananas.
Oh, after his ankle was broken off.
Yeah, after his ankle was swimming.
Legendary Vikings quarterback Brett Favre.
Legendary. Yeah, Bounty Gate. And then of course the Miracle.
Minneapolis Miracle. Yeah, Adrian Peterson's return to
that's right.
the Vikings in Week 1, 2017, which I think I listed that as a big win for the Vikings in some tweet or whatever, and people are like, Week 1, how can you say that's a big win? I'm like, because it's on Monday Night Football and they're going against Adrian Peterson.
And Adrian Peterson, by the end of that, was barking at his head coach. He got released 2 weeks later. It was awesome.
That's a big game.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't matter who you're playing against. Monday Night Football, open the season against your former franchise running back. That's 100%, a big game.
100%. Okay? I totally agree. Oh, I'm going to say the Vikings are going to win this game 38-37. There,
oh, wow.
Yep. Just there it is. I feel like it's going to be high scoring. I feel like something goofy is going to happen. And yeah, I don't know. I'm terrified. Like, this is maybe the most I'm not nervous for the outcome. I'm nervous for the crazy thing that's going to happen.
Oh, I'm going to be nervous all game. Because they could be up 21-0, and I'll be like,
still be terrified.
2 minutes left.
Oh yeah, there is no lead I'm comfortable with in this game for the
Till
Vikings
it's clock says
it could be 42-0, and I still am like biting my nails, terrified.
The Bills have come back from that deficit or whatever.
Yeah, and that's Drew Brees, man.
Yeah, I think I'll predict the Vikings to win. I don't think this would be a good time to predict them to lose.
Yeah, you might make some enemies if you predict that.
We'll go like 34-30.
34-30. Okay.
Just because I think the Vikings want to, they probably want to play a ball control kind of game.
I agree with you.
Keep the ball out of Drew Brees' hands. Keep the Saints defense on the field. Get them gassed. Just run that clock down.
For sure. And then all of a sudden, by the third, fourth quarter, your 3-4 yard runs are now 5-6 yard runs.
You put Madison in there, and
third and manageable.
Run them up. Yeah,
great shape. I wanted to add, we were talking about what we're looking for, what we want the Vikings to do. Talking about the offense, Kirk Cousins. It's where he's going to throw the ball from in the pocket. Yeah. When they're predictable, all the defenders know where he's going to be, and it's right in this one little spot, and they can just go to that spot. But if he's rolling out, they don't know. He might be a little bit this way, a little bit that way.
And having Dalvin Cook back should do that, because they're always going to be afraid of the threat to run. So hopefully
acknowledge that he's going the other way. Yep.
Yeah, 100%. put like a suit of armor underneath his jersey or something so he can play the whole game.
Yes.
Vikings need him out there.
Need him out there so bad. And yeah, that extension is going to be interesting, because if that guy gets hurt for a long fun
offseason.
Lots to talk about. Okay, yeah, Skull Vikes playoffs. Probably another classic. I mean, you got to just assume that something goofy is going to happen. It's going to be another classic. So I look forward to discussing the classic with you on Monday.
The 2020 classic.
It's perfect.
Hopefully, talking on Victory Monday.
Yeah, buddy.
Skull
Vikes. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.